So I haven't done a video of me accessing my port in a very long time, and I'm using a different technique, one that I like a lot better now. So I'm going to do that. I cannot move my phone and show all the things that are sitting on the counter because I have to stay sterile, so I can just talk about it while I go. First, I'm gonna wash my hands. I throw all my disposable stuff that I'm not using in the sink, which is right there. All right, so here's my dressing change kit. I'm going to open it and only touch the very outside part because I can't touch anything that's inside because that's all sterile. So I'm just being very careful. And I'm just throwing this in the sink. Now I can grab my mask without touching anything else. Put that on. And now I'm gonna set up, holding this just by the rim and just moving it over because I need more counter space right here. I'm going to set up my sterile field, which has this stuck to it. That's for pick line, so I don't need that. And I'm just touching the very edges. Sometimes it likes to fold in on itself. Don't touch the middle area. Moving the supplies forward more. All right, now, while I'm unsterile, I'm going to put these sterile products onto the sterile field, which is right underneath me. And I wish I could have a better view of this, but I can't. I'm just dropping it straight on without touching it. That's my needle, throwing that in the sink. And where's my blue cap? Over here. Where did my blue cap go? Oh, here it is. So as long as I'm not touching these things, it's okay. I'm dropping it right into the middle. And now I put on my first pair of gloves because since I'm doing this myself, I need 2 pairs of gloves. I'm gonna have to put 2 gloves on. That's okay. This is how I normally do it, but you can't unscrew caps and stuff with one hand. At least I can't. All right, now I can do this. Take this part off. This is all I wanted to do. And put that on. Now I have to take this glove off. This is sterile, so I can touch this. Throw this in the sink. I can touch this sterile stuff with this hand. This, luckily, I can open with one hand. And I just don't touch the blue. And I'm just gonna flush this so the saline goes through. And then the blue cap with the saline is gonna stay on here, but the saline isn't sterile, so it can't go in the sterile field. So it's just gonna lay with all of the needle and the line on the sterile field, and the saline is hanging onto the counter. Again, I wish I could have, if you saw, I just brushed my hand lightly, which is okay, because I have to take these gloves off anyway, or that glove, to put on a new pair. Because I couldn't touch that saline. If the saline was sterile, then I would be able to touch it. So now that I'm not sterile, I can fix my clothes. I can show you that this is hanging off like that, and this stuff is right here. And set this back up. So now I'm putting on my other gloves. So for the first pair, only touch the outside. You put your hand in like palm up. Sometimes your fingers get stuck. So you just gotta like take your time. Like my thumb does not want to find the thumb hole here. There we go. And then pull the cuff over. Only touch the inside part. Now I can touch the outside of the other part. This part. And then I put my fingers through like that to help get the second one on. Oh, my fingers are in, two are in the same hole. There we go. Now we get to start cleaning. So this is the chlorhexidine. It's like a Swiffer, shake it, and you just want to rub like crazy. And it's very wet, and that's good. It just got some like dried blood off from just nothing bad. Just normal port life, and you just want to get a lot of area and scrub it really well. And I can't let this touch my clothes or anything because that is not sterile. That's good. I'm throwing it in the sink. Now this came out of the sterile packaging, so I can touch it with my gloves. This is the last thing to do before I put in my needle. They are just 3 alcohol swab sticks. And you just go around from the center of your port in circles and work your way out. And I go really out far towards my armpit because that's where my dressing gets to. And I find if you don't get the cleaner, whatever kind of cleaner you use, to every spot that the dressing gets to, it does not stick well at all. So I'm going really close to my nightgown right here, but I'm not touching it. And I'm going way up by my armpit. And there's 3 of these, so we just do the same thing. Now, I gotta let it dry. Don't blow on it while I have a mask on. Don't wave at it, you have to let it air dry. And also a good thing to do while you're waiting is to hold your hands up, or since they're sterile, hold your hands together, because if I touched my dress right now, then they'd be unsterile and I'd have to go put on another pair of gloves. So just keep your hand, I just hold my hands like this. All right, we're looking good now. It looks like my skin is a little red. That's just irritation because I had the Tegaderm on all week. So now I can touch my needle, take this protective thing so you don't stab yourself with off, and lean towards the mirror that's in front of me. I can't look at the screen right now of my phone. Spread apart the skin, and I gotta focus. Blood return is really good. Now I am touching this. That means that I'm in the port, which is what you need. Now notice my mask is getting over my eyes. I can't touch it because I'm not sterile. just gonna push a little in, clamp it. I'm gonna be done with these gloves in a second. So that was good, first try. And now that's hanging. Now my dressing, this dressing is in a protective covering. So I'm just gonna touch the edges once again. Not the part that's going on my skin. And I'm touching the needle, but not my skin. Aiming it where I want it. Go right there. And I usually go like top, and then hold down the bottom and push only on the top. Now this is completely covered. I did not touch any of my skin or the actual dressing. So I can take this off and I can fix my nightgown. And I can press this on. Now I'm good for another week. Did this a little earlier than usual. It's past like midnight right now, and I do dressing changes on Friday. So it technically is Friday, but usually I would do it at like noon on Friday, not midnight on Friday. But now I'll be ready. So peel this part off. Uh-oh. It's not like an uh-oh, it's just make sure it's nice and clear, which means it's sticking nice. All this stuff I can show you now. This was my whole work area, all the stuff in the sink, all the stuff in the sterile field. Now I'm going to take a small tegaderm and some scissors, cut it while it's still in the wrapper, because I don't like how this, whoops, dropped it, can pull up the bottom. So I'm gonna cut like halfway and then peel it. And now I just use this as extra underneath. Sometimes it likes to stick to itself a lot. There we go. So now there's some underneath where the line is coming out. So the whole area is completely covered. So press that down for a second. Now I'm completely done. I brought an extra saline. I brought extra alcohol swabs in case like I dropped the saline and needed another one, but that didn't happen. The only thing I'm going to go do now, that's not in here with me, let's see how this comes out right here, and there's tegaderm underneath it because I cut a slit for it, and now it won't pull the dressing up. I'm gonna put a green cap that has alcohol inside of it to keep the cap clean and more sterile. And now I'm just gonna throw all the stuff out, and I'm set for another week with my port.